So, how many of you have seen Food Inc? Out of curiosity, how many of you have seen this? It is a documentary from 2008. It's old, it's not new. Although there is a new one, Food Inc. 2, that came out last month that I'm going to watch soon. But I watched this, I've seen it before, but I decided to watch it again today because our food and everything that's going on with our food is very important to me and to y'all, to a lot of people right now. And so I wanted to refresh my memory on what I learned watching this documentary the first time. And when I tell you that rewatching it now, I notice more things than I noticed the first time when it comes to what is done agriculturally to our foods, not just to the livestock, but also to the fruits and the vegetables, to the corn, to the soy, everything else. The issues with Monsanto, which we talked about all the time. And then how Bayer bought them out in 2018, I think. So the name Monsanto, however you're supposed to say it, has gone away, but Bayer still does all that same just underhanded stuff. I learned so much today. Things I never knew. Did y'all know that in 1996, Texas cattlemen sued Oprah Winfrey for disparaging a food product and for loss of profit? She talked about mad cow disease on one of her shows, one of her talk shows, I guess what it is, when it hit mainstream. Remember when mad cow disease was suddenly all the rage, right? And not in a good way. She made a comment, literally, here's the quote: "It has just stopped me cold from eating another burger." And because she said that, you know how Oprah Winfrey has such a following, like everybody and their mama and their uncle and their auntie, like, love Oprah. You get a car, everybody gets a car. Although now it's, you don't get a hamburger, y'all don't eat the hamburgers, it's got mad cow disease, right? So everybody loved Oprah back in the day. Some people still do, I'm not sure, but everybody used to love Oprah back in the day, in the beginning, before a lot of people started looking at Oprah a little bit differently, Maui, and whatever else. But she went through 6 years of litigation and over $1 million in legal fees. She won against the Texas cattlemen, after 6 years and $1 million. But think about it. That is the epitome of trying to get rid of free speech, because this woman said that seeing how the cows and how everything's made, how the hamburgers are made, literally stopped her cold and she'll never eat another hamburger again. That is her opinion. That is free speech. She can say whatever she wants free speech wise. She didn't slander anybody. She didn't say, specific whatevers, but they hauled her butt into court like it was nothing. So I learned, which I did not know. You would think with all the stuff we look into food wise, I would know this, and I don't know how I've missed this. There's a thing called the Veggie libel law, also known as an agricultural disparagement law. It's a law that protects food producers from false and malicious reports of food contamination. You see how they put those two things together. So if you were saying malicious things, like if you're telling everybody the truth of what is going on with our food, they can consider those malicious statements and then hit you with a veggie libel law, but it's also clumped in with false. You see how they put those two things together so that it looks like whether you're being malicious and saying, truth, although it's mean, although it's bad, they can paint it to be false, right? Because that's why those two things are in there together. Let's see. This law provides remedies for harm caused by false statements that imply or claim that a perishable food product is unsafe for human consumption. Well, I talk all the time about how things are unsafe for our consumption because of all the stuff they're putting into it. So I don't know what that means, although nothing I say to y'all is false, right? Now, I was curious which states have veggie libel laws, and I could not find an update from 2018, so I'm going to assume all of these states still have it. But according to this, currently 13 states: Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Dakota, and Texas have food libel laws. These laws have sometimes put farmers and manufacturers on a collision course with the media, which is why you guys know, and I know, that the media never really talks about how bad our food is for us. They just have to, grin and bear it and pump out these advertisements and whatever else that they have on their TV shows, on the news, on commercials and whatever else, because our country is run by these corporations, by Coca-Cola, by Pepsi, by Kellogg, by whoever else is out there. There's like 6 main players that literally umbrella the crap out of everything in our country food-wise. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous. If you have not watched Food Inc., I watched it well, not for free because I have Prime Video. It was on Prime. I watched it on Prime. And I mean, we know the stuff they are doing to our food. We know that since they started genetic modification, that things have lost their nutrients, lost their value, that it's been, there's less positive health for people due to all the negative things they're doing. But I did not realize, and I don't know why I didn't know, but I did not know. So I'm today years old when I learned this, that the production of corn in the United States is, how did they phrase it in the documentary? Oh, I can't remember how they phrased it. I didn't put it in a note. Oh, so basically, the production of corn, we used to get a lot of corn from Mexico, which we know. I talked about that before. We used to get a lot of corn from Mexico. Mexico is still the only place you can get non-GMO corn, okay? But when we started genetically modifying the corn here, what happened was, and I'm trying to remember this correctly. You guys are going to have to go watch this thing. I'm hoping I don't, blunder any of this. But what happened here, when they started doing corn, like fields and fields and fields of corn here, it stopped production a lot in Mexico. It put them kind of out of business. And so that's why in the beginning we had such a influx of illegal immigrants, or immigrants, however y'all want to phrase it, that were coming over the border to work here because they couldn't work in the cornfields in Mexico anymore because the United States had kind of taken over when it came to corn and corn production and everything else. So a lot of Hispanics, Hispanics were crossing the border to come here to work in the farm fields, the corn fields, because it's what they had known over in Mexico. You had Tyson chicken. I learned this also. Tyson chicken, when they go to the chicken houses to get all the chickens, to throw them in the crates, to bust them off to wherever they go, it used to be back in the day, and this is according to the people in the documentary, that back in the day you would have a lot of African American men coming in there and doing all the work, and then suddenly it switched over to Hispanics because a lot of Hispanic people doing these jobs don't speak very good English and also don't have any rights because they're illegal, so they will get paid less. They have to do the dirty stuff and whatever else, which we've already talked about numerous times, how a lot of the jobs have slowly gone from, being paid as a W-2 or whatever else to hardworking Americans, to being paid cash under the table to hardworking immigrants. Like, you have to think about it. The stuff that a lot of these illegal immigrants are out there doing, whether it is working in the farms and the fields and stuff, it's a lot of hard work. Like, whether you like the fact they're illegal or not, it is a lot of hard, dirty, gross work, right? And our border has opened up for it to bring them in, to pay them under the table. Tyson pays them under the table all the time. They've fired, American citizens to bring in illegal immigrants to do the work for less money without having to give them a 401k, no dental, no health, no actual W-2s, which then stops, Tyson from having to pay a lot of taxes because it doesn't look like they have a ton of workers because they're somehow paying them cash under the table. It's a lot of stuff, right? So I did not realize how much corn is literally in everything. Corn has been turned into high fructose corn syrup, and all these other things that I could not even begin to pronounce. I did not realize all went back to corn. It is crazy. Then, we look at Monsanto. I do it every time. I can't remember if there's an N or no. Monsanto. Every single time I mess it up, guys, and it's not on purpose, I promise. I just can't visualize it, and it throws me off if I can't visualize. I'm a very visual person. So, Monsanto. That feels right. Okay, we're going with the N in there. Monsanto, whatever. So, them with their soy, in the beginning, 90% of soy grown in the United States was normal soy, not genetically modified, whatever else. Then Monsanto, whatever, came in, and now like over 95% of soy in the United States is this genetically modified chemical whatever soybean from them. And the things they do to the farmers is absolutely ridiculous. But you also don't realize how much soy is in the things we eat. All these processed foods that we have that are full of some sort of corn, something or other, and full of soy, something or other, are absolutely horrific for our health, right? I was cleaning out my pantry today, and the light's getting weird in here, I'm sorry. So I was cleaning out my pantry today. I was rearranging things, moving stuff to the front, the soups and the tuna and the chicken and the canned stuff like that. And I picked up my chicken of the sea. And every time I pick up a can of chicken of the sea, I think of Jessica Simpson, bless her heart, who thought chicken of the sea was really chickens in the sea, and she couldn't figure out how they breathed underwater. Y'all, again, Bless her heart. So I pick it up and I'm reading the back of all the different things that I've got. I've got the Kirkland brand albacore tuna. I've got, you know, Bumblebee stuff. I've got Walmart brand stuff. I have a lot of different things because I was stocking up over the last, you know, couple years when everything kind of went to, you know, hell in a handbasket or went to shit. I started stocking up on a lot of stuff. We used to talk about it here when I would do the Costco runs and whatever else. And so I was going through and trying to figure out which ones needed to be eaten now and which ones could go to the back and whatever else. And I pick up the chicken of the sea. Really pretty can. It's, you know, green. It's got like a little mermaid looking thing on it. It's absolutely adorable. It's a great can. And I start reading the ingredients on the back and it says tuna and then blah, blah, blah. So like salt or something. And then vegetable broth. And next to vegetable broth in parentheses, soy. The hell do I want soy in my tuna? Like, I don't understand why this is in here. So then I start looking at the back of other ones, like the Kirkland albacore and the Walmart brand and everything else. And there's another one that says vegetable broth, but on the side it says soy free. So why does the chicken of the sea one have the soy in it? Now, I'm not telling anybody what to do with the things you have in your pantry or the things you plan on buying in the future. I gave every single can of that chicken of the sea to the homeless people that are kind of like a block and a half away from where I live because they're pop top, easy for them to eat. I had plastic silverware, so I took a thing of crackers and some tuna and some forks and I handed it over because I don't want it if it's got the soy in it. I am trying very hard to make changes for my health, the health of my husband, the health of my daughter. And for me, anything with soy right now is what we need to steer clear of. Processed foods in general are just absolute shit for our bodies. Like, our bodies don't know how to digest and work with all this stuff, and it's killing all of us, like, from the inside. And the older I get, the more I realize what a person who has their own farm, their own homestead, their own ability to do these things, how lucky they are in the long run. We talked yesterday about, you know, traditional families and traditional values and everything like that and how things are changing. But when you step back and look at how our food has changed just in the last 50 or 60 years, like legitimately look at how it's changed, it is mind-boggling. You look at the small farm that grows its own chickens and slaughters its own chickens and then sells the chickens to the neighbors and whatever else versus the way they do it in these plants, these processing plants. It is horrific. It is disgusting, and it literally will turn your stomach, which is why Tyson and Purdue and all these other chicken manufacturers will not let cameras inside these chicken houses, will not let anything happen like that, because they know if people really did get to see all this stuff, it would turn their stomachs, right? Now, of course, there's people that put on the hidden camera and go show stuff anyway. We've all seen it. All you have to do is kind of search it just a very, very small bit, and you'll see what happens. Same thing in dairy farms, same thing in cattle farms, same thing in pig farms. It is horrific. And the downside is that we as a society have become dependent upon the manufacturers and the whatever else for all these foods, because over time our government, and people may not understand when I say our government, but the government pulls the strings on everything. These big corporations and the government, they are in bed together. They are spooning on a daily. I don't know which one's the big spoon and little spoon, or the big fork and little fork. I'm sure they're forking each other all day long, but they are working together to literally keep us under their thumbs, both of their thumbs. Mine are kind of sort of even. Not everybody has even thumbs. Megan Fox has toe thumbs, and I didn't realize that until I saw it on TMZ. But anyway, you see all these things and you're like, okay, so 60, 70, whatever years ago, there was like small farmers. There's barely any small farmers left these days, but you had small farmers who made the majority of the foods. You go to the grocery stores, you barely find anything with a bone in it. You want a pork chop, you're going to get a pork tenderloin instead. You want chicken thighs, well, you can have chicken breasts. You want chicken legs, chicken wings, well, there's a shortage of those. Anything with a bone suddenly has a shortage, right? Sorry, when I get all worked up and I know I talk too fast, I end up giving myself hiccups. I guess it's the lack of airflow or oxygen. Anyway, so I'm watching these things and I'm thinking back to what it must have been like in even like the 50s, where you could go in your backyard, slaughter your own chicken, go inside, probably pluck it outside, then go inside and cook up your own chicken. And now we as a society are dependent on going to a grocery store to get things, because that's the way we have been conditioned, is to expect somebody else to put everything on the table for us. And people may look at me and go, who are you to talk about this? I mean, you're that person who goes to the grocery store. No shit, Sherlock. That's why I'm talking about it, because I am the consumer that, is being hoodwinked by the manufacturers and by the government. We feel, the general we feel like we should know what's happening to our food and where our food is coming from. But we've allowed the government and manufacturers to take away those rights from us by relying on them instead of doing it for ourselves. Like, the more technologically advanced we get, and the more we have, and the more we do, and the more we learn, the less we are able to take care of ourselves and fend for ourselves and do the things we need to do in order to survive. We are now dependent upon so-and-so in order for our survival, which is crazy. Which is absolutely crazy. Anyway, so back to everything I was talking about. Did y'all know that there is a cheeseburger law because of McDonald's? But it says a cheeseburger law is a law that says a plaintiff cannot recover from a food manufacturer, distributor, or retailer on the theory that the food made the plaintiff obese or caused an obesity-related disease. While this particular bill did not become law in the U.S., these lawsuits are typically rejected by most courts, because most courts are going to say, well, you should have known that eating McDonald's and Taco Bell and Wendy's every day was going to make you fat. You should have known that it was going to be, bad for you. Why would we know that? At what point in time are we supposed to just magically know that, when everything that's in commercials tells us how great this is for us, how low priced it is, and how easy and convenient it is, and everything else? There's not a single McDonald's commercial out there that says, hey, come get a Big Mac. Side note, it's going to clog your arteries and make you really fat, and you're going to have acne outbreaks because we put a lot of shit in our food, but at least it's cheap. Oh, wait. Well, it was cheap. Now it's expensive and will make you obese and give you diabetes and acne, back acne at that, right? They don't tell us these things, yet they expect us to just automatically know what's good for us and what's bad for us, even though they never told you, right? You and we here in this community and other communities like this will have these conversations, but at the same time, the powers that be don't want these conversations out. This video might, maybe, possibly on a good day, get 15,000 views because we're talking about food and people's health, and they don't want that out there. The doctors on YouTube, the people who are out there trying to help, whether it's homeopathic help, whether it's herbalists, whether it is people talking about cancers, whether it's people talking about diabetes, whatever, they get suppressed all the time because they don't want the masses to understand what is going on with our food and how it's effing us all up health-wise, right? So think about it also. You go into a grocery store. When's the last time you saw a season in a grocery store? You know exactly what I mean. When's the last time you went to the grocery store and was missing tomatoes or missing avocados, missing bananas, missing peaches or plums? All these things that we should not have year round are suddenly here year round because somehow we've genetically modified everything so it's resistant to everything. Do you know what happens when you do that? It's full of all kinds of shit that should not go into our bodies. And that's where we are right now. Anyway, so I came across this, this article here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Please hold. It's taking its ever-loving time. Okay, so this is on AP News. Makers of Food Inc. sequel launch impact campaign around pressing issues. So again, I have not seen the second one because it's not free. They want you to pay like $6.99 for it. And I'm like, I don't want to spend the money, but I really want to see what else they have to say, because since 2008 till now, 2024, do you know what has changed? Do you know what has changed in the manufacturing industry with the, the FDA, the USDA, with the things that go into our foods, with the things that grocery stores do? Do you know what's changed? It's gotten worse. Not a damn thing has gotten better. You had a ton of smaller corporations who were trying to do right, who were going organic, who were doing the humane things, who were grass-fed beef, grass-finished beef. I knew what I was saying. And, organic chicken and pasture-raised only and all these other things. And these yogurts that were antibiotic-free dairy and, grass-fed dairy and all this other stuff. And these small companies, I think Stony Farms or Stonyfield, what is their name? I don't remember their name. All these small companies, guess what happens to them? In order for them to be big production and make it to more people so more people can have organic or grass-fed or pasture-raised or whatever, they need money. Where do you think that money comes from? The big corporations that come in and buy them up. And then what happens? Something gets tweaked here, something gets tweaked there. And so instead of being 100% organic, now you're 90% organic. Instead of being grass-fed, grass-finished, now you're grass-fed. And don't worry about what happens at the end. Instead of being, organic pasture-raised, now you're organic cage-free. Just little small changes so that these, companies can go farther and help more people. But then the help starts to go away and it becomes less of a help and more of what we've already been like given and fed and shoved in our faces as this is the stuff you have to eat, because unless you have your own farm, your own homestead, or your own backyard to grow these things, you're up a creek and you rely on us now. That's how it goes. So this article, where is it? Hold on. I found a thing. There was a thing. Okay. So in October of last year, California became the first state to ban 4 chemicals. As much as we talk shit about California, because Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi and all the other liberal, left wing, whatever you want to call it over there, however you feel about the state of California, I don't begrudge anybody their happiness, right? But California does some really stupid stuff, right? I mean, you've got the prettiest coastlines, you've got all kinds of great stuff, and it's turning into just this massive pile of crap over there. And Gavin Newsom does some really stupid stuff, extremely stupid stuff. Gathering rainwater is illegal. Like, are you serious right now? But he did do something right. They became the first state to ban 4 chemicals from processed food and drinks sold in California by 2027. So they've got 2.5 years to get this done and whatever. And as long as nobody comes in and flips the script, right? Gavin Newsom gets replaced by somebody else who comes in and goes, nah, let the chemicals stay. Then I guess there's going to be an issue. But right now, the chemicals in California that have been banned, and we did talk about this in October. This is just a reminder. Red dye number 3. Potassium bromate, brominated vegetable oil, and propylparaben. Now, the vegetable oil one we talked about numerous times because it is very bad for you. They're still used in popular products like Peeps, those little marshmallow chickies, and at Easter it's the marshmallow bunnies and whatever else. The chemical has been linked to cancer and has been banned from makeup for more than 30 years. So the question is, why ban it from one thing and not the other things? Like, we know red dye number 3 is awful for you. That and the orange, whatever the orange one is. So my kid, she loves Takis, whatever, and spicy Cheetos and stuff like that. And we will literally get into, not fisticuffs, obviously. I've never raised a hand to my child, but we will get into very heated arguments over the fact that, no, you cannot have them. But, oh, my friends have them and I really like them. I don't give 2 shits what your friends have, and I don't give 2 shits what your taste buds like. The answer is no. It's full of absolute crap. You're not going to have an ulcer at 14 years old. So, now at school, if she happens to buy a pack or somebody has them there and she eats some, I'm not going to know. Generally speaking, she will tell me, though. She'll come home and she'll be like, I had some Takis today, I'm sorry. I'll be like, listen, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to save you. If you don't want to help yourself, and that's how all of us are right now, or should be. We have to help ourselves, because guess who's not going to help us? The government, the food manufacturers. Guess who could give 2 shits about us? The government, the food manufacturers. So we have got to work together to have these conversations on what is bad, what is good, what is safe, what is not. And guess what? It will be constantly changing. One day this may be okay. The next day they've tweaked it or done some dumb crap to it and it's no longer okay. Maybe even vice versa. So although these conversations about food may seem redundant or overkill or whatever, in my opinion, they're not. If they are in your opinion, don't watch them. It's like really that simple. But I feel like we have got to really pay attention to what is happening, because it's not going to get better. They want to pass all these laws and do all these things and help fix the planet and blah, blah, blah this and blah, blah, blah that with the climate change. But what they need to do is focus on the food. And what they're not doing is focusing on the food. And when they do focus on the food, they're doing it wrong. They're focusing on the chemicals they can use to make it easier. They're focusing on the labs they can use to grow our food instead of the soil of God's green earth to grow fruits and vegetables and feed the animals that, we eat. I'm just saying, it's a lot, y'all. It is a lot. And I didn't mean to get so worked up. But if you've ever been here before, you're not surprised at all in the least. I will say, go watch Food Inc. It's worth the watch 10,000%. I have seen Food Inc. I've seen Forks Over Knives. I've seen Game Changers. Now that's a vegan one, but I'm curious. So I like to watch all of them. I want to watch the ones about carnivore diets. I want to watch the ones about keto. I want to watch the ones about vegan, vegetarian, just to see if they all say kind of the same things or if they're all completely contradictory of each other, because that to me tells you who is full of crap and who isn't. So I like to watch all of them to kind of try to figure out what is real and what is not. I would always suggest you do the same thing. Do your own research. Obviously, I'm going to bring you the stuff that I find that interests me, that I think is interesting, or things that we should know. I'm not going to know everything. I'm not going to catch everything. I'm going to miss some things, and I may be wrong every once in a while, but it is never intentional. And if I'm ever wrong and I can, it's been proven or I figure it out, I'll be the first one to tell you I mess up. As of right now, I think everybody should go watch Food Inc. and really pay attention to it. There's nothing in there that pushes to go vegan. There's nothing in there that pushes to be a vegetarian. There's nothing in there that pushes to be a carnivore. The entire porpoise, look, the entire turtle of that. No, porpoise is the dolphin. Tortuga is a turtle. Woosah. The entire purpose of the documentary is to show you how these manufacturers, how these big corporations are legitimately putting profit over people, profit over people's health on a daily basis. Like, it is absolutely mind-boggling. It's not mind-blowing. I'm not surprised by any of it, but I am mind-boggled by the things that I have seen. So that is all. SquirrelTribe, I love you immensely. Thank you for being here. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your Saturday, my dudes. And I'll see you on Monday, because Sunday's fun day for the family. Okay, bye.